Good afternoon. My name's Richard. I'm here from Essatto Software to show you how you can complement your Odoo implementation with Essatto. So I'm going to start with a very short video just to give you an overview of the software. Okay, so just to summarise, Essatto has the ability, it's a data analytics platform, it has the ability for you to bring in data from multiple sources, including Odoo, and for Odoo we've got pre-built connectors, so we can bring the data directly in from Odoo without you guys having to build that connection in from your sales, from your accounting, etc. You have flexible reporting options, so you can create all your BI, your reporting and your dashboarding from Essatto. The ability to produce detailed budgets and forecasts, so more than just a dollar figure each month. We can go right down to an individual SKU level, an individual item and customer. And also the ability to group and build the reporting structures against your data as well. So you can build custom hierarchies to group and aggregate your data. So why use Essatto? You can manage all your data from all your sources, so most businesses have more than one source of information. It extends your reporting and dashboard capabilities. It extends your budgeting and forecasting capabilities, including the ability to write back from Excel. You can do intercompany consolidations and eliminations, both for your actuals and your forecasts. And it also gives you the ability, as I highlighted before, to group your data against custom hierarchies that you can create. So we have a pre-built connector to Odoo, and we've also pre-built all the structures that support the reporting into a BI tool like Power BI, for example, or the tools that come with Essatto. You can extend the multi-company capabilities of Odoo. You can combine it with data from other sources, so you can bring in your Odoo sales information, you can marry that up with your Google Analytics information, etc., to give you more meaningful KPIs. You can use Essatto to extend your reporting and dashboard capabilities, including the ability to easily report over multiple years, for example, and the modules obviously that Essatto includes to do detailed budgeting, forecasting and variance analysis against those things. Why is budgeting and forecasting so important? So 4 key things. Setting targets and establishing priorities. So basically identifying the top products and customers in your business to focus on to make it more profitable. That comes out as part of that planning process where you're actually trying to see into the future about how your different products and customers are going to work for you from a profit perspective. The ability to evaluate, so measuring your actual results against your targets as they come through, and then addressing any problems and capturing any opportunities, potential opportunities as part of that process. Being able to run multiple what-ifs, so multiple scenarios, so there might be an exchange rate impacts on your business. You could have several sales campaigns that you're running later in the year that you want to factor into your plan, so you can do that as well. And also financing. So as part of your business planning, you've obviously got to produce budgets and forecasts. And a tool like Essatto demonstrates to potential lenders and investors that you've got strong budgeting business practices that you use at your business. Okay, so I'll start getting into the demo. The demo business is a supermarket. It's got data coming in from 2 Odoo companies. The data is refreshed based on a schedule, nightly, hourly, etc. I'm then going to cover excuse me, some of the reporting options from Essatto. I'm going to cover how to create a sales forecast. So I'm actually going to build a sales forecast top down, and then I'm going to have an example where we've got a sales rep who's then writing into that or submitting their part of the forecast back to the business, and I'll show you how hierarchies work as well. Okay, so in terms of reporting, we'll have a quick look at some web reports and dashboards. We'll have a look at the Excel pivot. We'll take a quick look at Power BI. So you can access the same centrally governed data that Essatto stores from your various sources using multiple tools. It's up to you. Okay, so this is just Google Chrome. I've got the Essatto web interface opened up. You're looking at a dashboard out of Essatto that you can create by yourself. It includes information from Odoo. So we've got sales information coming in terms of our actuals. You can see here I've got some different product categories, beverages, food, etc. By sales rep, and you can see how they've gone in terms of their actuals and their plans and the variances. I've got some Google Analytics information here as well. In terms of new and returning visitors. I've also got some financial information too, so actuals coming from Odoo, the budgets and the variances associated. To create a report, I'll just show you quickly how that's done. So I'm going to create a new report. I'll pick my sales cube. And this is just one way to access the data. I'm going to show you an Excel pivot in just a moment. Okay, so all I need to do is, say for example, I'm interested in sales dollars. I just drag that onto the report canvas. And then I might want to filter that by product. I'll just put that on the row. So it's standard pivot table type functionality here. I can double click to drill to the next level in my hierarchy, which gives me these categories. I might want to view this over multiple years. Then I can turn it to a chart. So you can keep chopping this up in the various different ways that you need to eventually get it to a state where you're happy to put it on a dashboard page. Okay, so this example is Microsoft Excel. So it's connecting to the same data source, just a different way to have your users access the data. So on this one I've got sales information by product. The dark orange is the actuals from Odoo. The light orange is the budget that we've created in Essatto. So again, you can drill into this information, slice and dice it, etc. It's just an Excel pivot table connecting to an Essatto source. So now I've split this up into a greater level of detail in terms of these product categories. I'm looking at all salespeople at the moment, but I can split that up into the detailed sales reps if I need to. So I've just moved my salesperson tile onto the row here. If I expand out salespeople. Okay, now very quickly I've now got a view by product category, by my sales reps, and how they've gone in terms of their targets and the actuals that have come through. This one's another example. So this is a dashboard that you get out of the box with Essatto. So as part of the Odoo connector, we don't only have the connection to Odoo, but you also get some pre-canned content. So with this one, we've got some sales information, gross profit, and for each of these tiles, we can see we plan to achieve 410k. We actually achieved 432k, so we're 22k up on our target there, and we're about 32k up in terms of what we achieved for the same period last year. You can also look at your top 10 customers, products, and sales reps. So in this example, we can see Timothy's achieved the most for this month in terms of sales. We can have a look at gross profit, which is probably a more important metric. We can see Timothy's not even in the top 5. He's down here. So then we might want to have a look at the discounts that our reps are applying. And we can see that Timothy's given the most discounts, which probably isn't a great thing. So he's sold the most, but he's also discounted the most. Okay, the final example. So this is all just standard BI stuff. The important thing to note is you're accessing a centrally governed data source. Everyone's looking at the same information, and it's all happening in real time. There's no batch processes or anything like that. As soon as the data's updated, it's accessible to everyone who has access. This is Power BI, so this is a Microsoft tool that is also used for BI. And in this one, it's the same data set again. We've got Google Analytics information, Odoo sales information. If I click on June, for example, it's all interactive, so all the different visualisations filter down to match the number that represents June. And this one, we're just showing actual versus budget. So you've got Odoo actuals coming through, you've got your budgets created in Essatto, and very quickly the guys who need to make the business decisions can see how we're going month on month in terms of the targets that have been set. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is create a sales forecast. I'm going to create it top down to begin with, and then I'm going to have a sales rep submit some changes to that forecast. All right, so let me just go back across to the web interface. So what we have in the system at the moment is we've created a budget, you can see in green, and that runs out to the end of the year. And we've also got actuals in blue that have happened for the first 8 months of the year. And what I want to do is I want to predict, based on the actuals that have come through, where we think we're going to finish at the end of the year in terms of our sales dollars. The budget that's been created is at the same level of detail as my actual, so it's not just monthly dollar figures that have been input. So I can, if I just drill into this, so I'll turn this into a table. And if I break out product, beverages for example, you can see that I can keep drilling into this information right down to a detailed customer product type combination. And that's because we've produced the budget at that same level because we've got all the history stored in our system. Okay, if I go back. So, I mean, you can see that all the details there. And if you wanted to, you could do things like make this a multi-chart view, for example, just to make things a little bit easier to read. So now I can see over time how my different product categories have gone. All right, so what I'm going to do though is you're now looking at a budget. So this is our budget for the year. And you can see at the moment we're targeting, or we're trying to achieve around 8.8 million in sales. We're going to create a forecast now to give us a revised position of where we think we're going to finish with sales by the end of the year. All right, so I'm going to the fast budget section of Essatto, and this allows you to do top-down budgeting. And that means basically I'm going to very quickly set a forecast for the entire business without having to have people manually key in all of the data at an individual product customer type level. I've got multiple what-if scenarios I've created before, so you can create as many of these different scenarios as you want. But for my forecast, I'm going to start by bringing in my 8 months of actuals that have already occurred, because that's done. I can't change that, that's already happened. Then I'm going to use my budget to populate the 4 months of the year that still have to happen, and I'll use that as my starting position. So that's all happened. Essatto's just at the lowest level of detail, it's just created a revised sales forecast. If I refresh this report now, okay, so we had a budget that we set at the start of the year. We thought we were going to achieve 8.8 million. 8 months of the year have now happened, and our revised position is actually 9.2 million is where we're going to be. But we don't think that's enough. So what we're also going to do is apply a what if. So what if we increased the quantities for our tea products, so a specific range of products, by 400%, so by a particular uplift for a particular range of customers, in this case organic stores, but it could be, you know, your retail customers, wholesale customers, whatever the breakouts you have are. I'll apply that sensitivity. So at this stage I haven't even involved the reps yet. These are my high level assumptions that I want the business to achieve. I'll go back to my forecast, and if I refresh I'll see the impact of that adjustment. Okay, so now we're at about 9.4 mil from 9.2. If I refresh, so this is my monthly position, so this is just showing me month on month what the data looks like. I'll refresh this one, we can have a look at this too. Okay, so the first 8 months are obviously actuals, so they haven't changed, but you can see that my last 4 months, where they used to be exactly the same as the budget, then we're predicting that it's going to be slightly different. And if I want to focus in on what I've actually changed, I can do things like this. So just keep only the last 4 months. Just make this a table again. And we applied our change to T. So let's just find that category. And all I'm doing is double clicking to go through the different levels of the hierarchy. I'll keep only T. Turn this into a chart view again. And I can do further analysis. Okay, so that's our top-down forecast process. But now I'm a sales rep, and I need to submit what I think the forecast needs to be like for these remaining 4 months. That's part of what I need to do. So I'm in Excel now. On the ribbon of Excel, I've got an Essatto add-in, and I can refresh data from that same central location. So the data is all consistent, it's governed, and I can submit changes back. So I'm Bruce, the salesperson here. I'm inputting into company 1, I could be inputting into company 2, etc. Whatever I've been given access to input into, we can lock this down to. When I refresh the data, you'll see numbers and it'll make more sense. I'll just explain how the template's constructed though first. I've got my products running down here. I've got 8 months in white here. These are my actuals, I can't change those. These months in green, the remaining 4 months that I can change, because this is what the business wants me to reforecast. And I've also been given what my budget position was. So when I refresh, so as a sales rep, I don't have to go and find what my actuals were. I don't have to I don't have to think, 1 minute, I don't have to think about, I'm going to have to really motor through this. I don't have to think about all these other things. There's my starting position. I know what my actuals are in terms of quantities. I'm going to revise my forecast up. Okay, I'm going to submit that change. Now that's going back to that central warehouse where all the data is governed and managed. Okay, and now, I don't know, say I'm an executive user. I'll go back to this year-to-date report. And I can actually refresh my numbers and see what my reps are doing in terms of the changes that they're making to that revised position. And as my actuals are coming in from Odoo, I'm immediately able to see the variances, where they are, which regions are underperforming or overperforming, etc. So I've basically gone from 8.8 million to now 9.6 million in terms of where we think we're going to finish at the end of the year. Let's go back to my slide deck. All right, so I'll see how far I get through this hierarchy maintenance stuff. So hierarchies are used to group your data, and hierarchies apply to all your data. So these structures that I'm going to show you, they apply to your actuals, to your forecasts, to your budgets, all your information. And as we change them, those recategorisations, you don't need to run any processes. As soon as they're pushed through, your users are going to see the new summarisation straight away. So if I look at company, and we can have multiple hierarchies, so you can build multiple structures for reporting in this way. If I drill into this structure, and when I was in the reports, I was double clicking on those levels to go to more detail. That's in effect drilling into these different levels of hierarchies that have been created. So for this one, we've got company 1 and 2. that aggregates up to all companies before eliminations. I've got an eliminations entity there, and this total level here gives me an all companies after eliminations view of the world. And as Bruce submitted his forecast, what was happening was it was going to company 1, but automatically it was being aggregated up to all companies. You might have noticed that Bruce was submitting quantities, but we were looking at sales dollars, so the system was automatically calculating your sales based on the quantity change, and it was also automatically calculating, you didn't see that on the page, your gross profit. So it flows through the whole process without all the manual intervention that's normally required. Last thing in the demo, I'm just going to do this product change. I know it's late in the afternoon, thanks for hanging in there. So if we have a look at food, for example, we've got bakery, condiments, etc., all these subcategories. But for beverages, it's just a big list right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these brands that I've now created, because we want to be able to see under beverages these breakouts by these brands. I'll bring these into the hierarchy. Okay, it's just drag and drop. And then now you can do this via a managed process as well, so your users don't have to do this sort of thing, but if you've only got a small amount of changes, it's very easy for you to basically just drag and drop the information and start categorising your data. So that's all my Hal Venus products. I'll just do the Coolstream ones now. There's another one there. I think that's all of them. Just drag them onto Coolstream. And then Crystal. There we go. So the next time my users go to report actuals, budgets, or whatever it happens to be by product, instead of beverages just breaking out into all detailed beverage SKUs or items, they're going to get a breakout by the different brands first, and then it'll break out into the different item codes. All right, so that's hierarchy. So just to summarise, we did a top-down sales forecast. So we set a forecast for the entire business at an item, product, customer level of detail without too much effort. We did some what-ifs over that particular forecast. So basically, if we get an uplift for this particular product range in terms of quantity, what's going to happen? We did some variance analysis on that. We had a salesperson doing a forecast input. So we used Excel because Excel's intuitive to your user base. You don't have to train them. You give them a template. You tell them you need to change these quantities. They change the quantities daily, weekly, monthly, whatever you need that data updated. That frequency, it goes through and you can do your reviews. We looked at hierarchies, so we group and consolidate the data. You can actually extend, so obviously you've got a lot of this capability in Odoo, but if you need to extend some of that, you can use custom hierarchies to do that. Variance analysis of those results. And this is just summarising what we covered at the start. So we connect directly to Odoo. We can extend the multi-company capabilities. We allow you to bring in other data to create different KPIs within our system, and you also have got the budgeting, variance and forecasting capabilities. That's it. Thanks.
I have a question. Is that possible?
You can ask a question.
Yeah, can I ask a question? Time's up. You said you have an Odoo connector.
Yes.
Is it for every model, or is it just for two specific models?
Did you want to fill in there, Tony?
For every data in Odoo, or just sales and counting?
No, so we're extending it. So at the moment it's sales, accounting, inventory. I think we're
all the invoicing. So basically we do all the accounting, inventory, sales, HR.
Timesheets.
Still got manufacturing come in, but we've got all the data. We just got to build out the dashboards.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And they'll all be standard dashboards, and you'll have those all in the system.
Okay. But it's also possible to you have all the data of Odoo, You can also process the data yourself to create your own.
Yes.
Yes, it's extensible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's also possible to report out of an XML file?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Is it also possible if that XML file is in a field in Odoo? Is it also possible?
Say that one again.
We have a data source which is XML.
Yeah.
It's stored in a data field in Odoo as an XML file.
Yes, we just need to map it, we need to know where it is.
So if it's sitting in a field in Odoo, it'll come through as an XML in that particular entry when it comes through. Yeah.
Just the ETL one, she's off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
That's it. Any more?
Okay. Thank you.
Start to work.